Hey, 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 it's Carmolaye. I'm back, and welcome to Carmolaye Continued. This is the part 2 vlog talk session video to Storytime session that can turn into a life lesson. I don't want to repeat myself a little bit and give a little backstory of part 1, so if you are interested in listening to that, feel free to listen. But this is part 2 to the video right before this one. And I wanted to set some records straight. I was expressing how I ended up getting a lot of disturbing and hurtful and painful spiritual downloads regarding things about my past, regarding people I was around and people I dealt with and things like that who were negative and was trying to set me up and plot on my unaliveness and all that crap, because I am a target individual and I was speaking about how in part 1, the video before this one, I was speaking about how I lost custody of my children and my journey of me attempting to get custody of them and how that failed. That mission of mine failed. But I did my damn best. And it took years after that happening for me to realize that that was set up for me from negative people behind the scenes of my life, for that to happen to me and for the things that happened to my children, because they're all unalived as of now. So even the things that happened to my children after I lost custody of them and after I lost my custody battle with trying to regain custody of them, even after that happened, there were still unfortunate situations that happened to my children directly as when they were in the care of other guardians and stuff that they were placed with. And I received spiritual downloads regarding how all of my children got unalived. Okay. I was more open about that on my podcast. I probably vented about this in different episodes of my series entitled What's Heavy on My Heart on my podcast I did this year. And all links to my podcasts are in the description box below. But on the podcast I did this year, I had that series on there, What's Heavy on My Heart. And on that series I had on there, I was opening up about a lot of things that I found out hurtful about people of my past and other things regarding spirituality. But most of those series episodes I was venting about and opening and expressing about things I found out about people of my past who I cut off and who I, just stopped dealing with because of negative things I found out about them via the spiritual downloads I received about them in 2022 and this year, 2023. And on this part 2 video of Storytime session that can turn into a life lesson, I wanted to share the ways that I found out about my children being unalived. And my son, who was born May 8th of 2006, this probably won't make any sense unless you listen to part 1 of this. And I know it's 2 hours long and some seconds, and it's long, but the things I say in this video would probably make more sense if you listen to part 1 of this video, which was the video right before this one. Okay, but do as you will, listen or do as you will, but my son, who was born May 8th of 2006, I didn't find out about his wrongful passing until the year 2021. Yeah. And the way I found out about his wrongful passing was, excuse me, was from an intuitive person who has spiritual gifts, and that person let me know and let me know that my son, who was born May 8th of 2006, was not alive, and he has been unalived for many, 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 many years, since the year 2009, after I lost that custody battle, and after I had my last court hearing in January 2009 in Tyler, Texas, regarding me getting my parental rights terminated and stuff like that, right? And that case ended in January 2009. Okay. And after that took place and I lost that case and everything, I did not willingly terminate my parental rights. That is what the court ordered. Okay. I want to get that clear. But in 2021, I found out about my son, who was born May 8th of 2006. I found out that some months after the court hearing, the last court hearing I had in January 2009, some months after that, in that same year of 2009, is when my son, who was born in 2006, was unalived by a sacrificial type of ritual that was done on him as a baby, before he turned 3 years old. Actually, a month before his birthday. I ended up finding out that, not the details of that in 2021. I did not know. I did not receive those spiritual downloads regarding the details of his passing in 2021. But that's when I first received that spiritual message from another spiritual person that he was unalived, period. But I did not know any details until either last year or this year. But yeah, it was last year how I found out about him. It was last year in 2022. Yeah. Because I ended up, praying a lot and was praying for a lot of answers and spiritual confirmations and downloads about certain things in my past, and about, my kids and stuff. And I received the spiritual download myself in 2022 regarding how this sacrificial ritual was done to him, and where his remains were thrown. Okay. I know exactly the names of the 3 people that participated in this sacrificial type of secret society, dark occult type of ritual. One of them is not alive anymore. Karma caught up with that person. And I'm just saying that respectfully, not making fun, but that's what happened. So there's only 2 other people that participated in that dark occult type of sacrificial ritual to do that to my son, who was born May 8th of 2006. And after that took place, then in 2009, in April of 2009, his remains were thrown in Lake Palestine in East Texas area. And I found out about his passing in 2022, the details of that, but I found out about him not being alive without any details about that. I found that out in 2021 regarding his passing. Okay. Hopefully I'm making sense. I've actually spoke about all this openly on my Instagram page, Carmolaye Harmonni, when I vlogged about certain things that I needed to expose and stuff. But for some odd reason, I feel like saying this on YouTube. I mean, I already talked about this on my podcast. I already talked about this openly on my social media, like, but I'm just doing what I'm led to do, and I'm choosing to speak about this on YouTube. So hopefully this stays up. Hopefully it's not too gruesome. But these are what I really found out, though. I'm not lying about this shit. I would not want what happened to my children and what happened to me. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Not even the gang stalkers that gang stalk me. Not even the people that do voodoo and other dark occult type of spell work on me and evil witchcraft on me. I wouldn't even wish that on them. What happened to my children and what people tried to orchestrate in my life for me to whatever. I would not even wish this on an enemy, you know. I wouldn't, because I understand the law of karma. I understand karma, and I just would never wish that on anyone, for anyone to go through what I went through and what my children went through, you know. And, you know, I just pray for their justice for their wrongful passings, and that's all I can do is pray and keep on healing, and I've healed a lot from this, but you know, the healing journey never ends, you know. So I just keep on having a, you know, sound mind, and you know, I keep on doing things I need to do to stay positive minded, you know. But anyway, so that's the first wrongful passing I found out about regarding one of my children. He was the first one out of all four of my children that were unalived, and it was planned by negative people and negative groups. Okay. And I'm going to say this before I go further. I do not think all secret society members are evil as fuck and all that shit. I do not think all Masons are bad. I do not think all secret society members are evil as fuck. So when I talk negative things about those type of groups, I'm only speaking about malicious intent involving those groups and malicious people in them. I'm not speaking about everyone in them. Okay. But anyway, I then found out in 2022, I received spiritual downloads regarding my son, who was born February 15th of 2008. And he passed away by someone hitting him with a vehicle in a hit and run incident. And you know, this person hit him and fled the scene, and nothing was done about it. Nothing was done about it, you know, and that happened in Raymond, Washington. Okay. I've never been to Raymond, Washington a day in my life. And, you know, but I knew that that's where my oldest son and my youngest son were living at before they were unalived. Okay. I've been to Seattle, Washington before, like for a week or some days or some shit back in September 2018. But then I went back to California after that. So that's the only time I've been to Washington, the state of Washington, period, was in Seattle for like a week or less than a week. But other than that, I've never been to Washington ever again. But I've never, ever been in the city of Raymond in Washington, though. But when my son was hit in that hit and run incident, he died shortly after that took place, and that was planned for him so his organs could be sold, and that's already took place. The people who set that up for that happening to all of my children have already been paid off and all that stuff, and they are still enjoying the benefits of their evil labor, their evil labors of committing those type of acts. And all I can do is just pray for my children's justice, and that's all I can do at this point, But anyway, so that took place in 2022 when my son, who was born on February 15th of 2008, when he got hit by a vehicle on foot on purpose, and he shortly passed away after that happened, and that happened sometime in 2022. Okay. Then I found out about, later on in the year 2022, I started receiving spiritual downloads regarding the SA type of situations, sexual abuse type of situations that my children were going through before they were unalived. Because before they were unalived, they went through horrendous SA type of situations. And yeah. But anyway, I ended up sometime in 2022 receiving spiritual downloads regarding the SA that my oldest son, who was born July 25th of 2005, and my youngest son, who was born February 15th of 2008, they were placed in the same home together with guardians or whatever. And before my youngest son was unalived, later on that year in 2022, I had received spiritual downloads regarding the heavy SA situations that they were going through. And I'm not going to put details on YouTube, but I got exact details of exactly how many people SA'd my children, the approximate amount of people who did that to them. I'm not going to say that on YouTube. I'm going to keep it clean on YouTube. But anyway, I don't even think I said that on my podcast, not that part, but I know exactly, or I know the approximate amount of people who SA'd my children before they were unalived. Okay. I'm going to keep it clean on here. But so sometime in 2022, I received spiritual downloads regarding my daughter, who was born March 16th of 2007. And last year in 2022, she was living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time. And she was placed with, guardians and stuff, and she was going through SA, sexual abuse type of situations as well. And she became pregnant by the person who was one of her guardians, kind of like PDO type of shit. Okay. Not kind of, but that's what the fuck it was. PDO type of situations with that. So the male guardian of my daughter, who was born March 16th of 2007, in 2022, I received that spiritual download regarding her becoming pregnant by her male guardian. Okay. And, all my kids were teenagers, none of them lived to see 18 years old. None of them. Okay. So later on that year, 2022, that's when I received a spiritual download regarding my son, who was in that hit and run incident and who, passed away after that happened. That's when I found out about him passing away. My son, who was born February 15th of 2008. But in January of 2023, this year, is when I received a spiritual download regarding my oldest son, who was born July 25th, 2005. And all my children were born in Tyler, Texas, in Mother Frances Hospital. And all of them were born in the same hospital, but some of them were premature. Most of my children were premature, but my youngest son, I had him at 8 months pregnant, so he didn't have to go to NICU type of units and, stuff like that for being preemie or nothing. So, but my other 3 sons were born premature, and I talked about that stuff on the video before this one, on part 1 of this. Okay, this is part 2. Okay, but in 2023, in January sometime, is when I found out about my oldest son, who was born July 25th of 2005, and he was poisoned. Poison got into his system by the guardian he was with, and that's how he became unalived. Okay. And then my daughter, who was born March 16th of 2007, she was unalived this year in 2023 from being poisoned as well, by poison being put in her system. She ingested poison. So she ingested it with food or drink. I wrote down my spiritual downloads, but I'm just going off my memory right now. I don't know if it was something she ate or something she drank or both, but I found out through spiritual downloads that my daughter ingested poison because of the guardians that put that in something she ingested. Okay. And that was, I think, the last child of mine who was unalived on the behalf in the hands of evil-hearted guardians that they were placed with. Okay. Now, my daughter, she was unalived in Atlanta, Georgia. My oldest son was unalived in Raymond, Washington, the one that was placed in the home that my youngest son was in, who was born in 2008. Okay. I received spiritual downloads regarding them being drugged and all kind of stuff, man. In 2022, that's when I began receiving spiritual downloads regarding very disturbing things regarding my children before they were unalived, and still to this day, my son, who was born May 8th of 2006, his remains are still in Lake Palestine, floating around somewhere. And that happened to him in 2009. I did all I could to get custody of my children when I had the chance to do so. I spoke about, on part 1 of this video, the video before this one, I spoke about things I dealt with when I was married and the abuse I went through and all that stuff. And I spoke about my childhood and things I witnessed and things I went through, abuse type situations in my childhood. I said all that in the video before this one in part 1. This is part 2. Okay. But I never thought I would be at a place where I could forgive all that shit. Like, when I first received these spiritual downloads, when I received them, I never thought that this year, 2023, I could say that I actually forgive this fuck shit that happened to my children. Like, I can't even tell a regular reason of how. All I can say is prayer. I mean, you know, as I became deeper in my spiritual journey, I just ended up finding out hurtful things through spiritual downloads that I received my own, and other ones I received as well. And I had to get all my raging and anger moments out. And I, I, I would never be just completely over this shit. Fuck no. But I'm at a place right now where I'm just praying for justice for my children. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And if it does, it does. You know? Um, I'm almost 40 years old now. I'm in my late 30s now. The stuff that I was talking about in part one, the video before this one, I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old when I was in that abusive marriage and relationship, you know. Uh, I'm 37 years old now, you know, and it's been so long, and I feel that everyone deserves to have justice for their passings, whether if it was from whatever reason, you know. Everyone deserves justice for their wrongful passings, you know. That's just how I feel. And I can actually say without being sarcastic that I do forgive all this shit. Um, I didn't forgive the shit right away, fuck no, but as I became deeper in my spiritual healing journey, um, I just knew that for my soul, you know, and for my heart, you know, I had to forgive this shit to move on in my life, you know, emotionally, you know. I would never forget my children, never, never, you know. I just took it like as the universe telling me I wasn't supposed to be a mother, you know, and I kind of accepted it like that before I received those spiritual downloads regarding how they really passed away wrongfully, you know. But before I found out those things, those hurtful, disturbing things, I already had made up in my mind that the only way I can accept what's happened and with me not being able to raise them like I wanted to, I just kind of took it like the universe was telling me, or the Most High God was telling me, hey, maybe I'm not supposed to be a mother. You know, maybe I had to go through that because I wasn't supposed to be a mother, maybe, you know. So I kind of took it like that. And I kind of started my healing journey in that way regarding that. You know what I mean? But when I lost my, you know, custody battle and things like that in January 2009, I always had that dream and always had that goal to save up money for a good lawyer on my side and not have a court-appointed lawyer only, like when I was going through that court case and court battle and shit. I had court-appointed lawyers because I couldn't afford a good one, you know, or a good one on my side, I should say. But I always had that dream after that case ended in January 2009 in Tyler, Texas, family court system. I always had that dream to, you know, save up enough money for me to get a good lawyer and be established and be able to live on my own and not be in a roommate situation or whatever. And things just did not happen that way. You know, I just worked jobs that I was qualified to work. There's times that I tried going to, you know, college courses and what's the other type of college courses called? That's not in a regular campus. What is that called? Trade school type thing. The trade school type courses. I tried doing that, and every time I tried just doing courses and doing things like that. It just never worked out, so that's just how situations ended up happening in my life. But even though unfortunate things happened in my life, I still never gave up. I still never just was like, fuck it, fuck life, I'm gonna end myself. No, I never was in that mindset, and I thank God for that every day, you know what I'm saying? But I never thought I would be able to forgive all this shit. I can handle how people do me wrong, and how people do spell work on me to send me negative energy and death spells and all that type of crap, and voodoo type of, spells to send me negative energy. I can deal with that. I pray every day. I do my protection rituals, protection spells. Yes, the fuck I do. And I pray. Yes, the fuck I do. I have a right to do that, So I do not think all spell work is bad. It's all about the intent, and I do not stand for malicious intent. I just do not, fuck whoever doesn't like that, that's just whatever, how I am, that's just me. My thoughts on that, I give respect where it's due. I accept what I need to accept and accept what is and all that. But, I know that one could view or listen to my story and be like, damn, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. But, as things were going on after that was over with in 2009, after that was over with, it was always some hardship type of situation that happened to me, and I just dealt with it, worked whatever job I could, went through being homeless more than one time, and still bounced back and did what I needed to do to survive without doing things illegal to make money, and I thank God every day that my life has been spared, because there was a lot of people behind the scenes of my life who were plotting on my unaliveness, still is to this day, as me even speaking on this video. And I know it because my spiritual gifts have heightened to the point where there's nothing that misses me. Whatever bullshit that's sent my way, spiritually or otherwise, I'm going to know about it. And so, I just know, for people who are struggling with forgiveness and things like that, honestly don't know what to tell you if you're struggling with that. Because I honestly don't know the normal or regular way of me explaining how I was able to even freaking forgive the shit that happened to my children the way it did. All I can say is the Most High God helped me. That's all I can say. God helped me. The universe helped me. I prayed for my heart to be softened enough to forgive so my soul could be saved and so my soul can be more at peace, So I prayed for me to have more forgiveness in my heart. That's how I was able to forgive all this shit that happened to my children. And then the fact that none of them has had justice for the wrongful passings, on top of all that, I'm just at the point in my life right now where I'm just progressing spiritually and otherwise, and I'm healing and going through my healing journey better and better every day. And I know I've came a long way in my healing journey if I'm speaking about these disturbing things without me crying, on this video. You feel me? I've came a long fucking way. You know what I mean? And the soul never dies, energy never dies, the flesh does, So that's how I look at things in a spiritual aspect. So I guess my spiritual mindset has helped me, I guess. It has really helped me positively for my mindset. You know, I've had to reprogram my whole subconscious mind and my whole mindset period, to be less negative and to just deal with what I have to deal with without having negative feelings about it. Because I've always been the type of person who have dealt with whatever I had to deal with by myself. I'm a black sheep in my family. Before I officially estranged myself, I was already a black sheep in my family. I was the outcast anyway. I was around certain people in my family, my childhood and young adult years and stuff, and they indirectly and subconsciously let me know by the looks I was given, ugly looks, mean looks, and that type of disgusting look, like a look that someone gives when they're in disgust. Those are the type of looks I was getting from my so-called family, my bloodline members, right? And so I already figured out I was a black sheep anyway, and in my younger adult years, I would try to reach out to certain people in the family and things like that. But as I got older, I'm almost 40 now. I'm 37 years old now. As I got older, way before now, because I've been estranged from my family for some years now. But as I got older, I just was like, I'm not going to receive the love that I want from my family. I'm not going to get that closure that way. And I'm just going to pray about it and receive comfort in praying and doing things like that. Right. And so that's what I've done. And even though it hurts me when I think about what I spoke about on this video and the video before this one, this audio video, or these audio videos, I should say, even though it still hurts, that there's a good chance they will not get justice for their deaths, their wrongful passings, talking about my children. I know it's a chance that cases about them would never be a case. I know there's possibilities of that, so I can pray all day long about that, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna get what I want. That's just how I deal with things in a positive way when I pray. And I like to stay in a positive mindset, as positive as I can, so that when I get sad about things about my past and have other negative thoughts, I know praying helps me a lot from getting me out of a mental rut. You feel me? Or a mental space or a mental space that is like depressing or something. I don't be depressed every day. Even though I spoke about this here on YouTube, I've already opened up on my podcasts about this in more detail than I can ever put on YouTube. But for some reason, I was led to speak about a part of my testimony in this way on YouTube. Maybe there's other target individuals out there that need some encouragement right now, and maybe come across my Vlog Talk audio video session and just hearing my words of encouragement and hearing some of my story can help encourage them to not give up. Maybe, maybe that's why I was drawn to say that. But but after everything that I've, all the painful things I've endured and went through and found out about, that's why last year in 2022, I began to have that desire to be encouragement and motivation for others to go on their own spiritual healing journey if they need to. Because I know how important my healing journey has been for me, during my spiritual journey overall. My healing journey has been, it's been something. I'm in a better place mentally and emotionally now, but last year when I was finding out about certain things, only prayer could get me through. I can't say anything to people who don't believe in God or, the universe or anything. Or a higher power. I just know that's how I got through my most depressing times of my life. Me praying to the Most High God and me meditating and things like that. And still helps me to this day. Me not crying on this video and crying on the last video shows a lot of how much I've grown, even though most people could not say that type of story without having tears in their eyes every single time they say it. God gives me my strength, and I thank the universe and I thank God for my strength every day. And I just choose to be encouragement and motivation for others to go on their own spiritual healing journey if they need to. And I just know that that's very important for one's healing journey, to accept the fact that they need to heal and accept the fact that they need to do the work to heal or get the proper help that they need to heal, because it only takes that person to realize that's what they need. No one can make a person heal or go on their healing journey. It takes that person who needs the healing to accept that for themselves. So, the way I cope with things when I get in my deep depression mode, sometimes that I do not let it get into deep depression mode, but when I feel myself getting sad and things like that, I pray. I meditate, pray, do activities I like to do, listen to music I like to listen to, things like that, and I just keep my mind, on a positive swivel, a swivel, but I keep my mind on a positive frequency, because I know how negative energies can cling on to that, just like negative people can cling on to people, like narcissistic people, for example, can do, or other negative type of people can do, and even though I know there's people that spiritually attack me and plotting on my unaliveness and all that crap, I still would not wish this would happen to my children on anyone. I would not wish this on anyone at all. And how I had helped to forgive all this shit, God, ain't no secret. I have a relationship with the Most High God. That's how I got through it. Ain't no secret. Ain't no big spiritual, type of secret or nothing. No, I pray. I've always had my belief in the Most High God, and that's how I've got through my hardest times of my life and the most awakening times of my life, so that's all I can say. And that's part of my testimony, But anyway, I felt like doing this part 2 to this, the video I did before this one. I wanted to do a part 2 because I know that on my podcast, I opened up about things that I opened up about on this video. And I didn't want to say all that part of my testimony without saying this part, And I appreciate everyone who listened to the end. And I commend you for listening to the end if you did. I appreciate it. And to all the chosen ones, target individuals, and good-hearted people out there, please do not give up. And please do positive things for your mind and for yourself to help you get through the toughest times of your life, so you don't go into the deep end, so you don't try to do anything not so good. You feel me? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna end with this, y'all. Stay encouraged, stay empowered, and stay elevated. I'm out, y'all.